So this is the first lecture in Laplace transform series, and in our lecture mainly we will focus the problem solving sections. In the first lecture we will quickly review the basic theory of Laplace transform, that is basic equation of Laplace transform, and ROC, S-plane, pole zero plot, and relationship between CTFT and X of S. First we will discuss the basic equation of Laplace transform. So the Laplace transform is normally represented, for example, the signal x of t, the continuous time signal x of t, and the Laplace transform of this x of t is represented as capital X of S. Okay, and now we can define this x of s, or the mathematical equation x of s is equal to integral minus infinity to infinity x of t into e raised to minus s t, and the variable is t. So this is the basic equation of Laplace transform, and he will define a new variable which is s, and this s is defined as a complex number, okay, as a complex variable, okay, which is defined as sigma plus j omega, and it's a complex frequency. Actually you can say it's a complex frequency. Sigma is the real part, okay, this is the imaginary part, okay, this is the imaginary part. And we can also define a plane which is known as the S plane, okay, this is the S plane, and this is the real axis sigma, and this is the imaginary axis j omega, okay, and we are mapping this signal x of t into the new plane in S plane. Here the variable is t, here the variable is s, so that s we can indicate in graphically in S plane, okay, this is the imaginary axis and this is the real axis. Now I can write the inverse equation. So, and one more thing, this is basically known as the bilateral Laplace transform, okay. So after 2-3 lectures we will discuss what do you mean by unilateral Laplace transform, and now we will discuss the inverse Laplace transform equation, okay. Inverse Laplace transform, x of can be written as x of t is equal to 1 by 2 pi j integral sigma minus j omega to sigma plus j omega x of s into e raised to st ds. So here the variable is s, and in the first case the variable is t, okay. Here the variable t is, here it is s, and here it is minus, here it is plus, okay. And normally we will not use this equation in the coming lectures. We will normally use the partial fraction method, okay, the partial fraction method to solve the inverse Laplace transform, but we will use this particular formula. So you need to remember this formula, okay. X of s is equal to integral minus infinity to infinity x of t e raised to minus st dt, and we can define 2-3 points here, and as known as zeros and poles, okay. If you write any rational function of s, for example, if x of s is written as s minus 1 divided by s plus 2 into s minus 3, okay. So for example we got a Laplace transform in s, and there is a numerator and a denominator, okay, it's a rational function, and the roots of the numerator polynomial, okay, roots of the numerator polynomial is known as zeros, okay. So in this particular example you can see that this is the numerator, so we can equate this numerator equal to 0, okay. So you will get s is equal to 1. So normally these zeros are represented by a small circle and the poles are represented by cross. So here you can see that s is equal to 1 as a root. So here you can mark s0. Now the roots of the denominator polynomial, okay, or in other words we can say zeros are the roots which gives x of s equal to 0, and the denominator polynomial, roots of the denominator polynomial means we will equate the denominator equal to 0. So in this particular example, if we equate to 0, you will get s is equal to minus 2 and s is equal to 3. So here you can indicate one is minus 2 and other one is 3. Okay, so this is known as poles, or in other words we can say the function value will get infinity. So they are known as poles. Okay, so based on this I can say whether the signal is causal, stable, etc. Okay, based on this poles and zeros. This is the basic equation, and now we will move to the next section, which is known as the relationship between CTFT and X of S. Okay, or you can say how we can calculate X of S from CTFT. Okay, so this is a continuous time Fourier transform. So we already studied continuous time Fourier transform. So this is the Fourier transform equation. X of j omega is equal to integral minus infinity to infinity x of t e raised to minus j omega t dt. Okay, see, but when you discuss continuous time Fourier transform, we know that there is a problem. Okay, we cannot find the Fourier transform of all the signals. There is a restriction. Okay, that restriction is highlighted here. If the signals are not absolutely integrable, we cannot find the Fourier transform. In simple words, or in mathematical terms, you can say that the signal that is modulus of x of t should be absolutely integrable. Means we need to integrate. If you integrate from minus infinity to infinity, that signal x of t, the answer should be less than infinity. So then only we can find Fourier transform by using this equation. Okay, so this is the Fourier transform equation, and now I can do I can take one example. Okay, I'll take one example here. So for example, a signal which is growing like this. Okay, it's not converging. So assume that this is the signal x of t. This is the time axis. When time goes to infinity, the signal value is also goes to infinity. So if you integrate, you will get the answer like this, which is equal to infinity. Okay, if you find this answer here, you will get infinity, means which is not absolutely integrable. Now I will do one thing. I will multiply the signal by another waveform. Okay, which is a converging signal like this. Okay, for example, it is e raised to minus sigma t. I will write the general form. Okay, now I will introduce another signal, and meaning when time is tending to infinity, this signal value, or at t is equal to infinity, when t is tending to infinity, the function value, okay, it becomes 0, but in this case is going to infinity. It's a growing signal. Now I am going to multiply these two signals. So what happens? I can bring down the signal value to 0 or near to 0 at t is equal to infinity. So if you multiply these two signal, finally I will get a signal which is converging at t is equal to infinity. So t is equal to infinity, I can expect a signal which is converging. Okay, this is a new signal. Maybe shape will be like this, x of t into e raised to minus sigma t. Now multiplying x of t and e raised to minus sigma t. Okay, so we got a new signal. So now this signal is converging. Okay, so this is a converging signal. After multiplying with e raised to minus sigma t, the new signal is converging. Now I can find the Fourier transform of the new signal. That signal is x of t into e raised to minus sigma t. Okay, So this is the new signal, and now I can find the Fourier transform of the signal. So this is the general equation. Instead of x of t, now we will write x of t into e raised to minus sigma t, and remaining e raised to minus j omega t. Okay, integral minus infinity to infinity. So it becomes integral minus infinity to infinity x of t into, I can group these two, so e raised to minus sigma plus j omega into t, okay, dt. Sorry, here also we need t. In place of this x of t, I am writing a new signal, which is the product of the signal x of t and e raised to minus sigma t. So the resultant signal is a converging, and now we got a new equation or a new Fourier transform. It's a modified version of Fourier transform. So modified version of Fourier transform, slightly multiplying the signal with e raised to minus sigma t, and now I am going to find the Fourier transform. So here we got a quantity sigma plus j omega. So I will substitute here the sigma plus j omega. Let sigma plus j omega is equal to s. So our equation becomes integral minus infinity to infinity x of t into e raised to, in place of sigma plus j omega I will write s and dt. So now we can see that, which is equal to x of s. So from this we can say that Fourier transform and Laplace transform are related, and here you can see from this derivation Laplace transform, that is x of s, is a modified version of Fourier transform. Okay, so we cannot find the Fourier transform of all the signals by using this equation. Means there is a condition, the signal should be absolutely integrable, but we can make it in absolutely integrable by multiplying with another signal, which is so we can conclude like this: Laplace transform is a modified version of continuous time Fourier transform. So here you can see that these two equations are almost similar. Again the integration is from minus infinity to infinity, here also is from minus infinity to infinity. Here the signal x of t, and here the multiplying factor is e raised to minus j omega t. So in place of minus j omega t, it's e raised to minus st. That's only difference. Okay, and I will tell you one more thing, and there is a restriction also. Okay, if you look at this sigma, and if sigma is negative, what happens? For example, this sigma value is negative. Okay, if the sigma value is negative, e raised to minus into negative value. Okay, so it becomes positive. Means you will get like this, e raised to sigma t. Again it becomes positive. Okay, if sigma is negative. So again it's a ground signal. So again there is a restriction. Again we need to is not possible actually to find the Laplace transform, and Laplace transform is only we can calculate based on the sigma value. Okay, there is a restriction for from the sigma side. So next we will discuss the basic condition to find the Laplace transform. A necessary condition for convergence of Laplace transform is the absolute integrability of x of t into e raised to minus sigma t. In the previous case is only x of t is absolutely integrable. Now it is modified, e raised to minus sigma t into x of t should be absolutely integrable. Then we can find the Laplace transform. So in mathematical terms we can write it should be like this: integral minus infinity to infinity absolutely integrable x of t into e raised to minus sigma t should be absolutely integrable. Means the answer should be less than infinity, then only Laplace transform exists. So here you can see that if you write sigma plus j omega, okay, sigma plus j omega, this sigma value actually decide whether the signal is absolutely integrable or not. So there is no significance for this imaginary part. This S is sigma plus j omega. Either we can say sigma, or I can say that real part of S. Okay, real part of S is sigma. And when you take the modulus of e raised to j omega is always 1. So that's why we are restricted our restriction only to real part. Okay, we are only considering the real part. Okay, so that's why there is another term is very important in terms of bilateral Laplace transform, is the region of convergence. So the range of sigma for which Laplace transform converge. Okay, so the Laplace transform exists for some values of sigma, or we can say only some values of real part of S. Either we can say sigma or real part of S. So that is known as ROC. And if you take this S plane, it depends only on sigma. For example, sigma is equal to 2. Okay, if sigma is equal to 2 means in the real axis, so it will be like a line. Sigma is equal to a line parallel to j omega axis. If sigma is equal to minus 1 means, so here sigma is equal to minus 1. Again, there is no importance for omega, so sigma is equal to minus 1 becomes a line. Okay, there is no significance for omega in this region of convergence. And now we will discuss the relationship between CTFT and X of S in other way. That is how we can calculate CTFT from X of S. Means we got X of S, how we can calculate continuous time Fourier transform. So this is the basic equation of Laplace transform. X of S is equal to integral minus infinity to infinity x of t raised to minus st dt. Okay, in words we can say that continuous time Fourier transform we can obtain from Laplace transform by evaluating along the imaginary axis, or in very simple way we can say that X of S we can evaluate when sigma is equal to 0. If the variable S is defined as sigma plus j omega, so you can write like this: integral minus infinity to infinity, okay, x of t. If sigma is equal to 0, the remaining time will be e raised to minus j omega t dt. Okay, in this equation S is equal to sigma plus j omega, and sigma is equal to 0. So that's why it is mentioned as imaginary axis. Okay, if you take this S plane, okay, this is the real axis and this is the j omega axis. Here omega or sigma is equal to 0. Okay, so that's why it is j omega axis. We need to evaluate Laplace transform when sigma is equal to 0. You will get simply the Fourier transform. So Fourier transform x of j omega, continuous time Fourier transform, is equal to x of s is equal to or we can evaluate x of s when sigma is equal to 0. So we will get continuous time Fourier transform. So this is the basic theory related to Laplace transform.